The 2190 rule, 3 weeks to build a habit. I read that that's traced to a book published back in the 60s. Is this something that you've practiced for a while or adapted recently? Is it something you share with your teammates? And how has it worked for you as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've practiced forming good habits and breaking bad habits for a while, but been a little more cognizant of it, I'd say the last half decade to a decade of my life, how important that is. If you're really trying to do something that's meaningful, intentional, daily changes to make something stick. And yeah, I'm the old guy in the locker room, so every now and then guys hit me up about advice on certain things, or uh, could be any subject from personal habits to meditation to finances and you name it. And I enjoy those opportunities to talk to the young guys about things that have helped me out, mistakes that I've made that I'd like to see them not repeat. And I think habit forming both inside and outside the game is really important.
Matt Schneidman.
Aaron, with how complete of a back AJ has become, how much flexibility does that give you guys as an offense when you can pretty much use either guy in any situation and don't have to kind of hamstring yourself based on who's available?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dylan definitely showed that to us early in the season, that he could be a 3-down back and he could help us in situational stuff. And that was, big improvement from him. And it helps because running back is a tough position to play. There he has to do so many different things. You line up at receiver sometimes. You got to be great in the pass protection. You got to chip ends. And sometimes interior guys, you got to wrap in protections. You have to be good on all the routes and adjustments and signals. And then you got to run the ball really well. So proud of AJ and the season he's had. Great having Jonesy back. He's obviously a dynamic player. He's a home run type back. Every time he touches the ball, whether in the pass game or the run game, he can take in the distance. And it's good having those guys as a 1-2 punch.
Jason Wilde.
Aaron, you made the comment after the Rams game, when I step on the field, I expect greatness. Tausch and I had Urlacher on the show yesterday, and the two of them got to talking about how having a quarterback like you or Favre, you just always know you have a chance, no matter how many other crummy things are happening to your team or whatever else. Oh, can you sense that in your teammates that they feel that? How much pride do you take in providing that to your team?
I take a lot of pride in that. I think it goes to the way that I prepare and practice, and then obviously the performances over the years has helped. I got to see what that was like, in especially in 2007 when we had a pretty damn good team. You just always felt like, regardless of what was going on in the situation and we're playing, where we're at, how much time was on the clock, you just felt like we had a chance, when Brett was out there. And I always thought how cool that was, the expectation, whether it's in a 2-minute drive that you're going to take it down and score, or whether it's a tough opponent and you needed the guy pulling the trigger to come up with a good game. I just thought that was the coolest thing. And I'd felt that before, in different forms at Berkeley and at Butte and in high school. But there's something different when you're all paid to play and you're all the best of the best from where you came from. And there's still that expectation that you're gonna do what you do every single week. And I told the guys last week, and it kind of came out naturally, without thinking about it. But after I said it, I thought about it for a second and thought that I did believe that. But I said, there's not many better feelings in this life than being counted on to perform your best and coming through. There's a satisfaction in the performance and meeting or exceeding the expectations of people who need you to be at your best and rely on you and look to you and count on you to be great. It's one of those special feelings that you just can't get outside of the game in many places. And fortunate to still provide that for myself and to meet and hopefully exceed the expectations of my teammates when I step on the field.
Mike Spofford.
Hey, Aaron, Matt said earlier today that when you're not practicing, that he wants obviously you to get into some sort of a comfort zone in the game and whatnot. As you've been going through this process, are you finding anything that really helps you get that or speed that process along when you haven't been out on the practice field?
Not really. I mean, a lot of that's, I think, coach speak, which is fine. And I think, there are things you can do to get into a rhythm, but it just comes down to him and I being on the same page. And I think that's the growth of our relationship and spending now 3 years together is understanding what it takes for me to get into that headspace and understanding what I need. And we got great communication and I'm, went through all the walkthrough reps today. And today, thankfully, has been, Wednesdays, last few weeks have been kind of, mental days for me. And I get as much as I possibly can in the area of rehab. And then I go down and call some plays for practice on Thursday and Friday, which has been, a good routine for me. But when it comes down to it, when we get to Sunday, it's about him and I being on the same page. And him and I on the same page when we're communicating and talking about the calls and what we like early. And, Matt's always done a good job of incorporating me in those conversations and trying to pick plays that we both like and get into a rhythm. And we're not in a rhythm, we find a way to get out of it, out of the funk and back into the rhythm. So, but yeah, it's been good. It's different, not the optimal, way of doing things. Obviously love to be practicing and going through the process and the plan that way. But, we've been making it work the last couple of weeks with some pretty good performances.
Rob Domofsky.
Aaron, what kind of trash talk, fun loving or otherwise, or retribution you think you might see from the Bears this week after the I still own you comment?
Well, that comment was to the fans who were giving me the bird.
Right.
But look, there's trash talk every single time you're playing divisional games. Trash talk is what it is. It's a professional environment. It's not really a personal environment for the most part. Usually after the game, it's all love and positivity. I don't know. You can question a whole lot of what I said. We've had a good record over the years against them and won a lot of games in Soldier Field and at Lambeau Field. So it's been a great rivalry. I'm proud to be a part of it. We have gotten the better of them the last 27, 28 times we played them for the most part. But I'm sure a lot of times in situations like this, the trash talk is only able to be used if if you're getting after that individual that was trash talking. So in order to trash talk, you have to have a lot of confidence in what you accomplished and what you're going to accomplish in the future. At some point, what I said will be used against me. That's just part of it. But I have no regrets for saying what I said. And obviously, I think the record kind of speaks for itself. But I get it. At some point, that will be used against me. It is what it is. I don't regret saying it at all.
Steve McGargy.
Just wondering how your toes feeling coming off the off week, if that helped at all, and if you expect this to be kind of an indefinite thing for you not to be practicing the week leading up to the game. If you think this is going to be something that's going to be going on for a few more weeks, or if you sense the end is near in that regard.
Yeah, I can't tell you 100%. I got to see how it reacts on Sunday when I get back out there and play. But this was really, really positive. The time to heal and not do anything for now going on 10 days has been really, really helpful. So we're hoping that we can get on the other side of this. Again, we don't know until Sunday after the game and Monday how it's going to react to all the healing that's taking place and then the pounding that'll happen on Sunday. So we'll see what happens, how it recovers on Sunday or Monday.
Cassidy Hill.
Yes. Hey, Aaron. Matt Nagy named Justin Fields the starter for this week, but when there's so much in the air versus Fields and Dalton and maybe even Nick Foles, I'm just wondering from your perspective, as a quarterback, does it do anything, especially to a young guy's mindset, to know he might need to be looking over his shoulder the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in those situations a whole lot. I was in some quarterback competitions as a younger player in a junior college, all through training camp. But I would imagine that it would be nice to be named, the starter for the season, even if, your job's kind of on the line. And really in this league, it's always on the line. Your performance is always going to warrant, scrutiny. So you're never out of the woods. You can stack up a number of seasons in a row and have one rough stretch and people could be calling for your job. So your performance is always the most important thing. But I think there are some things mentally that you can do for young players to make them feel like that there isn't a quick hook, or there isn't a quick decision going to be made. There's a reason they took him high. He's a highly talented kid, got a bright future. Obviously he's been banged up a little bit, but he's gonna get a chance moving forward. And I hope that he understands that and realizes that, and that's been crystal clear made by the organization. But I mean, he has to understand that because they picked him high, and he's played this year, and he's done some nice things, and he's got a lot of room for growth, as any young player does. And like I told him, this will be a fun rivalry to play in over the years, and I'm sure he'll play in a number of these games.
Thank you.
Aaron Nagler.
Aaron, going back to 2014 when you were dealing with the calf, Mike had you guys in the pistol a lot to kind of alleviate what was being asked of you. Fast forwarding to these last couple of weeks and then moving forward, has there been any instances where maybe you guys are putting in something game plan wise, or you've told Matt, no, we're not doing 10 boot passes or things like that, or maybe no, let's ease off on the QB draw or something like that?
I do miss the pistol at times. I was, I could play that little tiny 3-foot circle pretty well, and I appreciated Mike for allowing me to keep going. But no, the fact of the matter is, I feel pretty damn good on game day, so I don't want them to take anything away. They obviously haven't been putting in a lot of read options the last few weeks, except for the play on the goal line there against LA, but no, I don't think there'll be any restrictions on anything come Sunday. And I mean, it might be on Matt's mind, but every time we've talked, I always tell him that everything's in. There's nothing that we need to hold out, and I just feel like I tease him in the room. We watch other clips of other quarterbacks doing read option on various games, and they're going to have to sub in J-Lo for that play because they don't let me run read option, and they don't let me do any quarterback sneaks for whatever reason.
Matt Schneidman.
Aaron, I was just wondering your reaction to Tedford getting back into the head coaching realm after he had to step down for some health stuff. I know you have a soft spot for him, and how nice it is to see him back out there.
Yeah, I'm so excited for him. I haven't got a chance to talk to him just yet, but when I saw that the Fresno coach had taken a different job, then I had also heard that Jeff's name was back in the mix, and I was thinking, man, if he's healthy, I bet he's itching to get back into coaching, because he's a ball coach, man. He really is. So I'm excited for him and Donna. He loves that school. We had a blast at Berkeley working together, and he's such an important part of the rebuilding of the football program and the advancement that happened at Cal. And he's such a important reason for so many guys, who came there and helped the program flourish. But I think his heart has always been at Fresno, and I'm excited to have him back there and be back in the coaching ranks, and can't wait to talk to him and congratulate him.
Marty, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Aaron, you spoke before about watching Chicago sports growing up, and just wondering if you could talk about the Bears rivalry from your perspective as it's grown from, the Packers, what you witnessed as a youth, and now that you're a pro.
Yeah, I only, in full disclosure, I was a Cubs fan because I enjoyed Harry Carey and uh, Greg Maddux when Greg was there. That was kind of like one of my favorite players. And I loved hearing Harry Carey announce the games. And then I was a big Bulls fan. I love Michael Jordan and was fortunate enough to see him play against Sacramento years ago as well. I think his last game at Arco Arena as a Bull. But I wasn't a big Bears fan. I was a Niner fan for most of my young life. Then Joe went to Kansas City, so I was a Niner and a Kansas City fan. And then I was a Barry Sanders fan and a Brett Favre fan. So I knew a little bit. Obviously, I knew about the rivalry because I've always been a lover of history and not just history, but sports history as well. So I've known they've had a great rivalry over the years, but I didn't realize how special it was until I got into the NFL and saw the history and talked to fans and understood how much it meant to them. And then, seen some of the highlights or lowlights over the years that have gone on between the two teams. And obviously you understand the names if you're a lover of sports history. The names that have played on both sides in this thing for 100 years is pretty special. So it's fun to be a part of it, just like anything in this league. I've been really fortunate to be a part of this stretch in time. But this rivalry existed long before I got here and long after I'm done playing. It's going to keep on going and it'll be fun to keep an eye on. Feel good about being able to leave this at some point with us ahead, but you never know. It's been an ebb and flow in this rivalry, and it's been fun to get back ahead in the all-time series.
Let's just do two more for Aaron. Jason Wilde.
Aaron, you mentioned the touchdown run against the Rams. Just a two-part question, if I may. One, you also had the run against the Vikings. So how have you been able to run with the pain that you have in your toe? And then we talked to Hackett on Monday of the bye week, and he said you told him that was going to happen. And I know you explained it after the game, but can you explain how that happens? Because you said you were supposed to either hand it off or pass, and yet you knew into the future that you were going to run. So if you could explain that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned that to me as well. He described it that he knew personally that I was going to do that, not that I had actually said something, because I was kind of racking my brains. I may have jokingly said, watch me pull this thing and walk it in. But him and I talked after the game, and he said, I knew you're going to do it. And I said, look, it wasn't planned. It was just spur of the moment. I saw Donald split the double team, and I felt like, it was 4 over 3 on the left side, and that wasn't going to be good. And the whole line just crashed, and I just kind of pulled it and got in the end zone. As far as being able to move around, I've been fortunate enough to have very little pain on game day, and there's obviously things that the team can do to alleviate your pain. But I've been fortunate to enjoy, some really good weeks of healing and to feel good. And then obviously at some point during the game or after the game, I'm, in a lot more pain. But I feel good. These 2 weeks are going to give me a real good chance to get a lot of the healing done. We're so far out now from the initial injury that I'd like to think that any damage that I might do on Sunday will pale in comparison to the healing that's been done the last couple of weeks.
Last one, Mike Spofford.
Yeah, Aaron, one more follow-up on the rivalry, if you don't mind. You and Brett, you have talked before about how over these last 30 years, you and Brett, really turned around the numbers in the all-time series, the wins and losses. I'm just curious if you've ever had any talks with Brett about that specifically, or had any conversations with him about the rivalry and the role that you two have played in it over these last 30 years.
I don't remember specifically if we've ever talked about the numbers and turning the rivalry around, but this one has always been special to anybody, I think, pulling the trigger here in Green Bay, just because you understand the history of our game, the history of this rivalry, and the history of the bad blood over the years between the two squads. it just takes one game to feel, one start really, to feel that juice. And I'm very thankful, to have gotten to play against Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs and Peanut Tillman and Julius, Israel Donajay, and Jennings, and all these different guys over the years that we played against early on. Though those guys were kind of showed me what the rivalry was all about, and the trash talking and the hard hits, and then to play with our guys who played in a number of those games, like Tausch and like Cliffy and Amon Green and Donald Driver, and seeing Robert Ferguson and William Henderson, some of these guys who were here when I was a young player, just how special the rivalry is to them and was. I think just reminds you, these ones mean a little bit more. Division ones always do, because they lead to division championships. You take care of business, but each division rivalry has its own importance, and it's always been kind of little Green Bay against big Chicago going back to the 1920s, and I'm proud to be able to lead little Green Bay on the field, for almost 30 times now against these guys.